We're ranking every Spyro's Adventure Skylander, and first up, Undead. The top 2 Skylanders from each element will proceed to the next round. These 4 Skylanders were really close, and they are some of the most iconic Skylanders in the game. However, in 4th place is Hex. Hex shoots orbs as her primary attack, which is very consistent and easy to use for damage. Although this is super satisfying, spamming this move makes her gameplay stale, and her walls of bones or spinning orbs feel too weak. 3rd is Chop Chop. Although his gameplay is satisfying, he is similar to many other melee characters. His melee path allows him to do insane damage, which is superior compared to his shield and burn abilities. Yet, the gameplay and design of the other 2 Skylanders just feel better. Second is Ghost Roaster. His gameplay feels completely different to all of the Skylanders, turning into a giant floating head and healing, but he's just not as iconic and nostalgic as Cinder for me. Cinder is one of 8 dragons in Spyro's Adventure and attacks using lightning. Her ability to dash makes her mobile, giving some variation in gameplay, and I love the dragon designs of the first game, making her take the first place spot. Ghost Roaster and Cinder will move to the top 16. And second, Tech. The top 2 Skylanders from each element will proceed to the next round. Compared to Undead, this decision was pretty easy. In 4th place is Dual Surgeon. Now, I love the concept of Dual Surgeon, and his design is really funny, but his gameplay is similar to other Skylanders, where he stays far away shooting drills, hardly needing to use his lasers or dash move. 3rd is Boomer. Now, Boomer has a special part in me due to him not having any remodels except in Young Elite. His design is cool and attacks are pretty average, throwing dynamite and smashing the ground, but that's really it, just dynamite and bombs. 2nd place goes to Trigger Happy. He's a staple in the franchise, and his design is just an insane guy who shoots gold coins. He can both shoot with guns and control a turret, creating variation in gameplay. But he's overshadowed by the winner of this video, Drobot. Activision has an obsession with dragons, but this has led to some really cool designs. Through flying, shooting up to 6 lasers from his eyes, and attacking backwards, Drobot's gameplay can be really simple, but also complex if you utilize all his moves. Trigger Happy and Drobot will proceed to the top 16. And next, Life. The top 2 Skylanders from each element will proceed to the next round. I feel like some fans won't like this 4th placement, but for me, it's Stealth Elf. Stealth Elf is beloved by the community, but I just don't get the chance. She attacks with blades and can turn invisible and create decoys. However, I hardly use these ninja moves when playing. In 3rd place is Camo. I feel myself mainly using the primary attack shooting orbs, which feels repetitive. And although his watermelon smashing abilities are a cool gimmick, they feel too weak. I love dragon designs, but Camo just falls short to the other Life characters. 2nd is Stump Smash. Stump Smash is your classic melee Skylander, using his arms to whack enemies and shooting acorns for a long-range attack. This is a great example of merging short and long-range abilities to create gameplay where both styles are beneficial. And the winner for Life is Zook. Zook is the first bazooka in the franchise and shoots shells from afar. Unlike Camo, where I barely use his secondary attacks, Zook's barricades of mushrooms, vines, and cacti are highly efficient at blocking a high density of enemies, creating an excellent character. Stump Smash and Zook will proceed to the top 16. And next, Magic. The top 2 Skylanders from each element will proceed to the next round. This placement was relatively easy to make, with 4th place going to Voodoo. Now, although Skylanders with only a Series 1 figure feel special, Voodoo's gameplay just feels too weak. He attacks with an axe, can create magic tripwires, and make zip lines. 3rd is Wrecking Ball. Now, although I find him quite funny, he is hard to control and use well. He has a unique moveset of attacking with his tongue and rolling around, but the execution feels off. You can't steer his rolls, and his tongue has such a small hitbox, making him frustrating to play. 2nd is Spyro. Although he is the icon of the franchise, he is just a generic dragon, similar to other ones in the game. Although he shoots fire despite being the magic dragon, Spyro's moveset is well balanced, with fireballs for damage and charging for mobility. However, he falls short to the amazing design of Double Trouble, the winner for Magic. Not only is his design really cool, Activision integrated his gimmicks well, shooting energy and exploding doubles. He's really fun and not too weak. Spyro and Double Trouble will move to the top 16. And next, Fire. The top 2 Skylanders from each element will proceed to the next round. In my opinion, Spyro's Adventure's Fire Skylanders weren't the best. However, in 4th place is Eruptor. Despite being an icon to the franchise, he's both awkward to use and ugly. He shoots lava, which is fine, but his lava pool abilities involve getting too close to enemies. 3rd is Sunburn. Although I love dragon designs, nothing really special comes from Sunburn. He shoots fire and can teleport around the battle. His simple moveset is not bad, however, compared to the other simple Fire Skylanders, Sunburn is just not as good. 2nd is Igniter. Unlike Eruptor, Igniter's design is really cool. He attacks with a fire sword and can control fire on his top path, creating long attacks and explosions. The combination of cool visuals and the embodiment of fire makes him take this place. And the winner for Fire is Flameslinger. Flameslinger has a really unique gimmick, speed. I've sped around a lot, and the combination of using fire arrows and flaming dash is really cool. Sunburn has a fire dash too, but the ability feels much better implemented in Flameslinger. Igniter and Flameslinger will move to the top 16. And next water. The top 2 Skylanders from each element will proceed to the next round. There aren't many Skylanders in the game that I actively dislike, but Warm Shell is one of them, the 4th placement. I find him really disturbing to look at, and he's one of the least memorable Skylanders for me. His gameplay feels weak too, having an underwhelming mace attack and awkward starfish shots. Second is Slam Bam. Unlike Warm Shell, he has an excellent design, especially for close range Skylanders which always feel awkward. Slam Bam's ice shooting moves are well implemented, making him less vulnerable at close range, but are overshadowed by other water Skylanders. Second is Gilgrunt. Gilgrunt is an excellent Spyro's Adventure Skylander and showcases the game with a simple but unique moveset. Being able to shoot anchors for long range and spray water when enemies are too close, playing him doesn't need much thought while being super fun. And the winner for water is Zap. Zap's moveset is really well integrated, combining his electric zap attacks and water sliding, being able to electrify his trails and create massive area control. This makes Zap really satisfying and a massive damage dealer, while also having a cool design. Gilgrunt and Zap will move to the top 16. And next, Earth. The top 2 Skylanders from each element will proceed to the next round. Earth Skylanders in Spyro's Adventure are pretty good, but in 4th place is Bash. Bash is similar to many melee characters, hitting enemies with his tail at close range. His gimmick is rolling from ability, which is kind of cool, but even then, there are many Skylanders with this similar playstyle. Other Earth figures just fit better. Third is Dynarang. Dynarang is the second dinosaur Skylander in Earth, and attacks with a boomerang straight forward and around him. Although this concept is a cool gimmick, I find it underwhelming compared to other long-range characters. Second is Prism Break. This Skylander is the definition of a unique design with a well-related moveset. He uses lasers to attack and controls crystals to alter the path of his life. Prism Break would easily get first place if these attacks were easier to aim. And the winner for Earth is Terrafil. Like many Skylanders, he has melee and mobility moves. However, this time it involves digging underground and reappearing ready to deal massive damage. His high DPS and invincibility while digging makes an excellent moveset. Prism Break and Terrafil will move to the top 16. And finally Air. The top 2 Skylanders from each element will proceed to the next round. These Skylanders were all very memorable for me and it was hard to make a decision, but 4th place is Tornado. Although spinning is a cool idea, this Air character just feels wrong. His spinning attacks feel really hard to aim, and so do his tornadoes. Third is Lightning Rod. Now I love Lightning Rod's design, being based on a lightning god. His long range lightning attacks are fun, and creating electric storms is really strong. This is an excellent character, but just falls short to the other amazing Air Skylanders. Second is Sonic Boom. Summoning babies and attacking with them is Sonic Boom's gimmick, and it flows really cool to a moveset. Although I find myself mainly spamming the close range screech attacks, her babies often come useful, especially against large hordes of enemies. And the winner for Air is Whirlwind. Whirlwind is one of the most satisfying characters, especially on her cloud path. She can shoot rainbow beams for her primary attack, and her clouds connect with lightning beams. When shooting them, they create more rainbows, creating a super satisfying area control high damage Skylander. Sonic Boom and Whirlwind will move to the top 16. Top 16 are ranking every Spyro's Adventure Skylander, and Group 1 is Double Trouble, Cinder, Stump Smash, and Prison Break. The top 2 Skylanders will proceed to the next round. This random group is pretty competitive, with some memorable Skylanders being eliminated. So, in 4th place is Stump Smash. He was very lucky to get to the top 16, and although I find myself using close range hammer moves and long range abilities, his design is pretty average, just being a tree human. In 3rd place is Prison Break. Now, I love everything about Prison Break, including his unique laser gimmick, cool rock design, and his moveset is really creative. I just wish his attacks were a bit stronger, especially as they are impossible to aim. Definitely an unfortunate matchup in this ranking. Second is Double Trouble. As I mentioned, Double Trouble is a really funny Skylander, and it feels rewarding to use a variety of moves, especially his primary laser attacks and Tiki summoning moves. However, Double Trouble doesn't feel as iconic to me as Cinder, the winner for this group. Now I understand that she's a less creative Skylander, but her simplicity of shooting lightning makes her accessible, while also being more advanced when you use her dashing moves too. Double Trouble and Cinder will move to the top 8. And Group 2 is Whirlwind, Zook, Igniter, and Spyro. The top 2 Skylanders will proceed to the next round. This group is not very competitive, and the losers aren't that special to me, making the decision easy. In 4th place is Zook. Zook had an easy path into the top 16, yet I love the combination of shooting shells and hiding behind his cover. His design is not bad either, but he just falls short to the better Skylanders. Third is Spyro. Although he is the literal center of the Skylanders franchise, I struggle to think more of him than a generic dragon. Compared to the other dragons in the game, Spyro's fire shooting moves and dashing are just worse and simpler versions of the others. Second is Igniter. His design is much cooler, being fire in cursed armor, and his moveset is well implemented. However, I often just spam his fire sword move, creating more stale gameplay than Whirlwind, the winner for this group. Whirlwind's gameplay is so satisfying, especially when you use her cloud moves to link up and shoot even more rainbows. This creates depth in her gameplay, which is not too hard to use, creating an excellent Skylander. Igniter and Whirlwind will move to the top 8. And Group 3 is Zap, Flameslinger, Trigger Happy, and Sonic Boom. The top 2 Skylanders will proceed to the next round. This group is by far the most competitive, and all 4 Skylanders I love and could potentially make the top 8. However, in 4th place is Zap. Zap's idea is not that unique, shooting electricity and creating area control. However, his abilities are so well implemented and flow nicely when creating pools of electrified water, making him really satisfying, yet still not as good as 3rd place, which is Flameslinger. Similarly, Flameslinger's gimmick is quite simple, running around and creating a fire trap. However, this has more utility than Zap, being able to move super fast while maintaining the area control, and fire arrows. Third is Sonic Boom. Now her gimmick is slightly more complicated, summoning babies to attack for her. This is not only entertaining to watch, but they are relatively powerful and create depth to her gameplay. Her Griffin design is pretty good too, yet she is not as powerful as Trigger Happy, the winner for Group 3. His design is really funny, being a guy who shoots gold coins. His damage is really good too, especially if you use more of his complex abilities like his turret. He can be played mindlessly or strategically, a great Skylander. Sonic Boom and Trigger Happy will move to the top 8. In Group 4 is Drobot, Terrafin, Gilgrunt, and Ghost Roaster. The top 2 Skylanders will proceed to the next round. This group has really cool Skylanders, but the decision was pretty easy. In 4th place is Ghost Roaster. Although his design and gimmick is really cool, I never really played him very much. His attacks are strong, especially with his skull charge, but is just not as memorable as the other iconic characters on this list. Third is Gilgrunt. Gilgrunt has an opposite situation to Ghost Roaster, where he's really memorable, but his gameplay is quite lackluster. In the previous round, I mentioned his simplicity makes him easy to use, but this makes him boring at the same time. Second is Terrafin. Terrafin is one of my favorite close range Skylanders with his berry ability. This allows him to move around before and after dealing massive damage, making him really strong, fun to use, and iconic. However, he is just not as satisfying as Drobot, the winner for this group. Drobot is really strong. Although his gameplay can sometimes be repetitive as you just spam his primary move, the pure satisfaction and really cool dragon design makes up for it. Drobot is one of my favorite Skylanders within this first game. Terrafin and Drobot will move to the top 8. The top 8 of ranking every Spyro Adventure Skylander, and Group 1 is Drobot, Cinder, Igniter, and Sonic Boom. The top 2 Skylanders will proceed to the next round. Although I love all 4 Skylanders in this group, the top 2 were on a whole another level. So in 4th place is Igniter. Although Igniter's design and concept is really cool, being able to split his armor and fire, he's not iconic in my opinion. Maybe it's because I find myself using just his primary moves, but Sonic Boom, 3rd place, is much more memorable. Sonic Boom has a really fun and wholesome design, being able to create adorable griffins to fight for her. Her damage output is high, she's fun to play, and these babies are just the best. Second and our first finalist is Cinder. I've praised Cinder for her simple yet slick design, and this has not changed. This design finds the right balance and it fits excellently with her long-range lightning attacks and dash moves, creating an excellent Skylander. And the winner and next finalist is Drobot. He is arguably the strongest Skylander in the game, but this doesn't make him boring. His lasers are really satisfying and deal massive damage, and he has a dashing move to complement it alongside his amazing design. Cinder and Drobot will move to the top 4. In Group 2 is Whirlwind, Trigger Happy, Double Trouble, and Terrafin. The top 2 Skylanders will proceed to the finals. This group was much harder to decide than the others, as all 4 Skylanders are memorable for me. But in 4th place is Terrafin. Terrafin's gimmick is to dig underground for mobility, able to jump out and attack at close range, making him fun and strong. The only negative is that he is mainly a close range Skylander, which is important in a roster before him himself brings him down. Third is Whirlwind. Now Whirlwind has everything that a good Skylander should have. Her 2 paths are completely different, and especially in the cloud path, you can create satisfying area control moves. It's just personal preference on why she ranks lower than Double Trouble, 2nd place, and the 3rd finals. Double Trouble is really funny, satisfying, and strong. His long range attacks and magic suit his theme well, and when upgraded, his beam attacks do massive damage. His tikis are also a neat addition. And the winner for this group is Trigger Happy. As mentioned, Trigger Happy is the perfect character for a simple game like Spyro's Adventure. He's basic, yet fun to play with his guns, and when upgraded, produces some fun and unique moves. Double Trouble and Trigger Happy will move to the final. The finale of ranking every Spyro's Adventure Skylander, and our top 4 is Drobot, Trigger Happy, Cinder, and Double Trouble. We'll be finding a winner in this video. Now, it's been getting really hard to differentiate these favorite Skylanders, and it is difficult to rank them. But if I had to choose, Double Trouble would be 4th. Although I praise his amazing magic attacks and absolutely brilliant design, he's just not as sentimental or effective as the other placements. His tiki theme is so iconic, but doesn't beat Trigger Happy, 3rd place. Trigger Happy is on another level. He is so easy and so fun to use, even more than Double Trouble. The variety of turrets and guns he uses keeps him entertaining, no matter how you play it. 2nd place and the runner-up is Cinder. Again, I find it hard to explain exactly why she ranks higher, and it's really just personal opinion. I generally like lightning-themed Skylanders, and her dashing moves fit this perfectly. And finally, my favorite Spyro's Adventure Skylander is Drobot. If you've been tracking the series, you would know I am fond of dragon Skylanders, and Drobot is one of the best. His laser attacks are so satisfying and powerful, his robotic wings make him look so cool, and overall, a very memorable Skylander. And that's it. We've now ranked every Skylander from Spyro's Adventure.